All right. Hi, welcome to the show. And with me in the studios, in the Radio One studios, is Frizzell Dsouza. Hi, Frizzell.
Hi, Lee. So nice to meet you. Thank you
So
for
nice
having me
meeting
on.
you as well. It's the second time meeting together, actually. The first time we met at chance meeting at a gig
Yeah.
that I just happened to MC. I just went there and was like, hey, you guys need an MC? They're like, sure. And I just went there. And it was an insane lineup. And, that was the first time we met. And you were so good on that gig.
Thank you so
It was
much.
so
Right
great.
back to you.
That's-
You killed it at
Thank
being
you.
an MC.
You're based in Bangalore and you started your own, making your own music on YouTube in 2018.
Yes.
It's been a while now. And so she's an architect. She's finished architecture, like what? You just graduated, right?
Yeah, about 2 months ago.
2 months ago. And she is full on into music now, or are we still not sure where's it going to end?
Still
where you're
testing
gonna
the waters.
She just released a new EP. It's called The Hills Know Of You, and it's a great EP. It's doing so well at the moment. And I want to talk more about your journey, where you've where you started, and let's start there. When did you know that okay, music is what I want to do with my life, or where did you get into the music scene, basically?
Right. To give you context, music in one way or the other had always been a part of my life.
Right,
Grew up in a Catholic family, went to a Catholic school, so
church, and
church,
yeah.
exactly. So there was a lot of choir practices and orchestra and whatnot. So music was always there. And I learned to play the violin when I was a kid. My sister was encouraged to play the piano. So it was always there, one way or the
Right.
other. So it was when I moved to college, that was when I realized the culture in Bangalore was very different as opposed to my Catholic school, which was like a little place where everyone knew how to play music. So I was like the only kid out of like 120 people who had a guitar, who was singing songs
Yeah.
that not a lot of people knew. So that's when I sort of decided to take it solo. I started my YouTube channel, put up covers of all of these songs that I like listening to. And I think it was just a hobby. So every time I had like a little break during my architecture work, I would pick up my guitar and play my songs and whatnot. So yeah, it was during the pandemic, everyone was at home and I was putting up Instagram reels and going live on Instagram. And I think that's when I sort of started gaining a little bit of traction online.
You got 58,000 plus views on so many of your videos. I mean, like, you have like 30K followers and you have more than almost 50,000 plays on the streaming apps.
Yeah,
So
so
it really picked up then.
all of that, I think it all skyrocketed during the pandemic. So my covers were doing well, and I said, hey, good time to release like my original music. I'm
Right.
sure people will listen. So that did well. I released about 3 songs, and the EP came out recently. So I think things have been picking up slowly. So I graduated about 2 months ago, and I decided to take a break to focus on music at the moment. So that's where I am. Still need to figure what to do going forward.
But architecture is like a very stressful and hectic, course. A lot of people don't have time for
Yeah,
themselves.
it was.
And I want to know how you balanced, because you graduated, right? You got through that, you got that degree. How did you balance college and music?
I got out of college.
Everyone thumbs up over here now. Like it.
I don't know how I balanced it. Like, I don't have the answer.
She's
I'm
a
not sure
genius.
if I did. But I would say, I really believe that if there's something that you really enjoy doing, you will find time for it. You don't have to make time for it.
Right.
You will have to make time for something if you don't enjoy doing it and you're forcing yourself to do it. So it was a hobby, and I always had time between work, and I would pick up my guitar whenever I wanted to. So that's how architecture and music happen side by side. But when I started releasing original music, obviously things were a little more hectic, but I had help from an artist collective at the time. It was called the Urban Weaver.
Right.
It was a bunch of artists into different fields, be it music production, visualization. So I had everyone helping me. So it was not just me doing it alone. So that was what really pushed me. Was backed by a lot of different people. So that helped me out. I think that was also a big factor that helped me graduate in a sane, space of mind. if
Flying
you will.
colors.
If you will, yeah.
The EP is out. It's called The Hills Know Of You. It's doing really well. I love the EP. It's so melodic. It's so beautiful to listen to. And I would say it's a perfect rainy day song. Like when it's raining, I put this EP on and it just calms me down. It just fits with the entire scenery. Talk to me about the entire process of, how the EP came to be. How long did it take? And what are your thoughts on it?
I love that you think you can listen to it on a rainy day, because I think I wrote most of these songs on rainy days. but these songs were written over time. None of them were intended to go into the EP. Lots of artists do this. They write songs over time and they, pick and choose.
I think a lot of pandemic artists like it's gonna come up now because they just had to sit in the pandemic and they wrote a lot of songs while that happened.
Yeah.
And now they're releasing it slowly.
Yeah.
So that's happening with a bunch of artists actually.
Yeah.
So
after I released my third single, that was Foolish once again, I knew I wanted to work on a collection of songs.
Yeah.
So I kept writing, but I couldn't work on putting it out because of thesis and internship and whatnot. It took up a lot of time. But these songs were written like completely disconnected from each other. Like the breakup song came first, then the love song and whatnot. And what I loved most about it was after I picked these songs, I put them in a particular order, and it turned out to be like a really nice love story.
Right.
But what's so different about it is the fact that all of these songs individually had their own backstories because they were based on people in my life. So these are all real stories.
Wow.
And I think the way I look at it is every single person that's living experiences a love story in a different way. You fall in love in a particular way and you have your own breakup story. And the way that you pick yourself out of a breakup is very unique to every person. And so I think even if you rip the EP apart and listen to each song, it has its own story and can stand by itself. So I think that's what's really cool about it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So is it like a breakup EP for you or like a love EP, or is it a mixture of both for you?
I think it's a mix of both because it's really just someone going through the different stages of love, from falling in love to coming out of it and figuring yourself. I think it's more about finding who you are and helping yourself in all of these situations.
What's your favorite song on the EP? Like, for you personally?
I wish I could pick one, but I think the one that's most close to me would be Maybe Tomorrow, which is the third track. That's something that I wrote when I was going through a really bad time. And I think I still experience what that song was written about quite often. So I relate to it. It's my own song, but I do relate to it. So definitely that would be my pick out of all of the songs.
Now, who were your inspirations? Like, what inspired you when you started writing music or making music? What did you draw on?
I think the kind of music that I listened to as a teenager, as someone who entered the music space, I listened to a lot of acoustic artists, one being Ed Sheeran. So that was around the time he was releasing his Divide album, and I love all of his older stuff. And so I always looked up to him because it was just him and his guitar on stage, and there was nothing else. There was no dancers or fancy lights that was distracting you from the music. So that's when you know the music is so pure, right? It's just him and the guitar. So I was really fascinated by that, and I think there was a lot of influence from him. Songwriting Hosier inspires me a lot for songwriting. He's a genius at what he does. So I try to draw inspiration from these guys. But I grew up listening to a lot of retro classic, like a lot of Elton John, Frank Sinatra, the Bee Gees, Michael Jackson. So a lot of the stuff that my dad was listening to. So
they call it dad rock.
Yeah, totally.
Dad rock, yeah.
So he was in the Navy when he was a surgeon in the Navy during the 80s. He would travel abroad and get these CDs and cassettes from different countries.
Oh, nice.
And we have like this collection at home that I still listen to the cassettes.
Wow.
I find that damn cool.
Like you wind it up and you put it in there.
Yes.
Oh my god, that's so cool. So cool.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So you have like a variety of these artists that you draw from. Which one do you think that you most resonate with? Like what really comes out? Because usually artists, when they draw from these other musicians, one particular stands out, like one particular artist. Who would you say is that?
I think as a whole, it's really hard. But as a whole, I would say Ed Sheeran.
Right.
But to give it some sort of a context, I was listening to a lot of Dodie and Lizzie McAlpine when I was writing these songs. So I think there's definitely influence from there.
Right.
I look up to how Lizzie's been growing recently. So I really love her stuff.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Now you performed, I think in 3 cities you said? Bangalore and Goa.
Yeah.
Right?
So far.
Out of these 3, so far. And I'm pretty sure we're going to see you all over the country soon. And, everywhere. Tell me about your best gig that you've had.
So I've played the most in Bangalore so far. I've had some really fun shows, but I think the most memorable for me was playing at Guild opening for Parvaz.
Oh, wow.
So Parvaz is a band that I really, really love. Their
Parvaz is
music
awesome.
is just unmatched. So when I got the offer, there was no questions about it.
Yeah,
I'm totally opening for you guys. And it was, at that point, my biggest gig so far. I was still learning how to perform live because I started playing during the pandemic. So everything was online at that point. So when I moved back to Bangalore, this was one of my biggest gigs. And it was so fun. The crowd was so overwhelming and just overwhelming in a really good way.
Yeah.
That was fun because I got to play all of my originals for the first time. It was a full original set, and that's when I really felt like, an independent artist doing her own thing. Yeah, that was fun. That was my favorite gig so far.
And what about the other end of the spectrum? The worst gig?
Let's not talk about it. I'm kidding. So lots of places where I've just not been in the right mind space, or the crowd's like been intimidating.
What does that mean though to you? What do you mean by the crowd is intimidating? How does that?
So sometimes I feel like either this is not the audience's taste in music because I'm not in the right place, I'm not playing for the right audience. So that's when you feel like, you should just sort of pick yourself together and play for yourself on stage, even though the crowd's not listening. Or if there are people in the audience that are like really, strongly placed in the industry and you sort of want to get ahead, but you're nervous. So I've played those kind of gigs. Let's not name it.
But out of the three cities, I'm guessing Bangalore is your favorite place to perform?
Yes, I've
be.
loved playing in Bangalore. I think for all the gigs that I've played, at least for most of them, the crowd's been absolutely great. And people are really welcoming. People are really hospitable in Bangalore. I love that about this place.
Bangalore, I don't know, we just have that vibe to us.
Yes.
Like I've been born and brought up in Bangalore, and as a Bangalorean, I'll tell you, we're just so relaxing and peaceful.
I love the city, like as a whole, even if it wasn't for the music. I love the city.
Honestly, nothing like Bangalore traffic.
I was late here because of Bangalore traffic.
And the weather. The weather just changes on a whim, right? It's
like
crazy.
we're in Florida right now.
It's weird. It's like, it's cloudy at the moment, but then in 2 hours, I'm guaranteed it's going to be sunny as hell. You're from Bangalore, though. You've been born
I'm
in
from
Bangalore.
Bangalore. Yeah.
Interesting. Are you any plans to move back to Bangalore, or are you going to stay in Bangalore?
Well, I'm still in the process of figuring it out. I graduated 2 months ago, so I moved back home for a bit to spend some time with my family. But I've been shuttling for any gigs that come up. But I'm hoping to finally settle down in the city that I love
This
soon.
city, yes. I do also want to ask you about your EP. I want you to play a song for us from that EP.
Sure. Let's do it.
We're going to get Frizzell live in Radio 1 Studios. Before you start playing, though, I want to ask you, who produced the album? Like, did you produce it yourself, or do you have producers on this?
No, so I worked with Varun Murali from Swaratma. He's the lead guitarist.
Wow, I
at
love Swaratma.
Yeah, he is an absolute angel and a sweetheart. It was so much fun working with him. He has a studio called the Red Music Box Studio in Nagarbavi. So I would travel up and down for every studio. It was about an hour and a half of travel for every studio day, but it was so worth it because he's a really accommodative human being, and he sat down to understand all of my songs before getting to record them. So it's been fun. He's just been incredibly supportive.
That's amazing. I mean, and you're an indie artist at the moment, and usually indie artists like start off, with just a guitar and they go perform like Dylan did in the past. Are we gonna see you in a band soon? Like, is that gonna happen?
Yes, for sure. So I really wanted to, grow into a band. I'm actually playing a set on November 19th with a band. So we're going to try whole different versions of my originals and some covers.
So new stuff,
yes,
different versions.
New stuff.
And where's this happening?
It's not out yet, so it'll be announced on Instagram soon.
Okay, so stay tuned to Frizzell's Instagram for more details on this. And now, what song you play for us?
I want to play the song called Busy Loving You. I think it's my favorite love song that I've written so far.
Okay.
So let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah. On some days when I wake up, I admire you so. With you by my side, there's nothing else what's on my mind. You're the sunshine to my rainbows. You're the melody to my songs. I could just pause this moment and watch you all day long. 'Cause even if I had nothing in the world to do, oh, I'd be busy, oh, busy loving, oh, I'd be busy loving you. And even if I've had the hardest times of my life, you make it easy, oh, easy loving, you make it easy loving you.
That was amazing. That was so good.
Thank you.
That was beautiful. Yeah. See what I mean by, like, you know, a rainy day song? It's so relaxing. It's so nice.
Yeah, I love that the song was written on the guitar and I tried not adding anything else on the studio version.
I mean, that's how it's meant to be. And I can't wait. You know what? Like, if when you say that you're going to get a band soon, I can't wait for the full produced version of this song or like other songs. It's going to sound
I haven't
great.
decided yet. I'm very skeptical about introducing a band on this song, but let's see. Let's see who
I
can
think
convince
you
me.
know what? I think this is one of those songs that had to be kept like just the
I
guitar.
know, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's got a...
People
it's
have
got
tried
that vibe.
convincing me to do like a band version of the song. I was like,
Nah.
not yet.
It gives me a very like Queen vibe.
Really?
Yeah, the Queen song, which is that song?
Love of My Life?
Love of My Life. That's the song I get. That's the vibe I'm playing right now.
That's a really huge honor.
It's so good, so good. The EP is called The Hills Know of You, and it's out everywhere. Do check it out. And Frizzell, I want to thank you for coming down to the studios. Even though it was raining and the traffic was bad, you made it here, and so nice talking to you. And
You as well.
Good luck with all you're gonna do.
Thank you so much for having me. Lovely talking to you,
Yes.
and good luck to you as well.
Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
94.3 Radio 1.